Hello, my wonderful guys, gals, and non-binary pals, and welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Julia, and today I'm going to be hauling some books. These are books that I've bought over the past few weeks, as well as some library books that I got recently, so let's get started. The first book that I got was Take a Hint, Danny Brown by Talia Hibbert. This is the sequel to Get a Life, Chloe Brown, which is a romance novel that I have not read yet, but with a lot of romance novels, they're self-contained stories, and although they contain some of the same side characters, usually you don't have to read them in order. So this is about a PhD candidate, Danny Brown, who is rescued from a fire drill gone wrong by security guard Zafir Ansari, who is a rugby player. A video of him carrying her out of an elevator goes viral. They decide to fake date so that Zafir's sports charity can get off the ground. But of course, with fake dating, they start having feelings for each other. Talia Hibbert is a Black British author. I didn't know that she was British, but I guess the fact that one of the characters plays rugby should have pointed me in that direction. But anyway, this looks like a really cute romance by a woman of color. I've heard great things about it. Can't wait to read it. The next book that I purchased was Harrow the Ninth by Tamsin Muir. This is the sequel to Gideon the Ninth, which came out less than a year ago. They must have been written at around the same time, but this is the second in the Locked Tomb trilogy. I'm sure the next one is coming out probably very soon, just judging by the release schedule of this series, but Gideon the Ninth, which is somewhere on my shelves here, is the space necromancer lesbians that you've been told about. I mean, it was a ghost, it wasn't me. Everyone's been talking about Gideon the Ninth. Everyone always says there's gay necromancers in space, and while I guess that's the premise, the plot is more like the Westing game in space, which will probably give you a better idea of what the book is about, but Gideon's voice in the first book is just full of snark. It's so entertaining. There's a huge plot going on in the background, but Gideon is like dummy thick and doesn't understand it, so she's just like, I'm gonna do push-ups over here and try and get girls to like me, which is so great in a female narrator. But Harrow the Ninth is about her love interest Harrow, who was a sort of like her enemy in the enemies to lovers romance that was in the first book. I don't want to spoil the ending of Gideon the Ninth for you because you truly deserve to be unspoiled going into it, but this is about what happens after the events of the first book with Harrow and navigating kind of the space politics of this undying emperor's court and also staving off an ensuing war. So I know that the voice won't be the same because Harrow doesn't have the same voice that Gideon did, so I'm really excited to see what voice she has and also just figure out more about this world because Gideon the Ninth honestly barely scraped the surface. You heard me rave about it. Next book I bought was An Unkindness of Ghosts by Rivers Solomon. I just had to own this in paperback form so I could flip through and read my favorite passages. I don't know what else to say that I didn't say the first time. I just want to let you know that I own a copy of this now. I'll probably be rereading it. Maybe, I don't know, what do you do with books when you own copies of them? Host a book club? I don't know. Anyway, go out and buy this book. It's wonderful. I went to a wonderful independent bookstore in Flagstaff, Arizona on my recent long, complicated family road trip that was not for fun, it was necessary. Anyway, I happened upon this book that I didn't know existed called The Honey Month by Amal El-Mohtar, who co-wrote This Is How You Lose the Time War with Max Gladstone. And having flipped through this book, I can definitely see what El-Mohtar brought to How You Lose the Time War because her language is so lyrical and crisp and crunchy and you just want to like eat her prose. So this is a sort of exercise in synesthesia. She ate a different kind of honey every day for a month and then wrote about it. So there are poems and stories all based on the different types of honey that she ate. As someone with synesthesia and who is really interested in the different types of synesthesia, I thought this book was so cool and it's by an author that I want to read more of, so I was really excited to find this. Also in the bookstore in Flagstaff, I came across a book that I've been wanting to buy for a while, which is The Best American Food Writing 2019, edited by Samin Nosrat, who's my favorite cookbook author. I'm sure you know her. I've heard that this has a lot of essayists of color. There's an essay by Michael Twitty in here, who is a food author that I enjoy reading. So yeah, I've wanted to read this for a while. I read one of these anthologies a few years back, and I just love the way that these authors talk about food, but they're really talking about broader issues. I think it's so interesting the way that food is a gateway to so many other topics, and I am really interested in seeing the essays that Samin put together. And the book that I purchased most recently at a wonderful shop in Boise, Idaho, was another book that I read recently, Catalog of Unabashed Gratitude by Ross Gay. Ross Gay is becoming one of my favorite poets. I read his essay collection, The Book of Delights, earlier this year, and I could just tell that he was a wonderful poet based on his prose. I read this on my Kindle and cried. It's just so incredible. And I mentioned in talking about The Book of Delights how you think you know what the essay or the poem is about, and then it completely turns inside out and turns into this like complicated, beautiful thing. I mean, in a poem about him talking about his ugly feet, he's actually talking about a friend of his who passed away. His first poem talks about eating at this fig tree and the sense of community that it brings to him. He helps run a community garden, and he writes about that, and it is just written with such love and care. You really feel like he's wrapping you up in a blanket and taking you out to his garden and reading these poems to you. This book has renewed such a love of poetry in me that doesn't come out very often, and I can't wait to read more of his work. It's really hard to find. Speaking of poetry, I got some poetry books from the library today that I've been waiting for a while. They're only picking up holds at my library right now, so I can't go in and browse, which is probably why I've bought so many books lately. The first book of poetry I got is The Tradition by Jericho Brown. I have not read much of his work yet, but this was recommended to me by the woman at Kingfisher Books, who I mentioned in a few videos ago. I know that he is a Black queer poet. This is his newest collection of poetry, so I'm excited to read this. Also, Wade in the Water by Tracy K. Smith. She was the Poet Laureate of the United States, whatever year this book came out. In 2018, she is a Black woman, and I really enjoyed her book of poetry, Life on Mars. I think this is her most recent work, so I'm excited to read this as well. It's been great reading a gamut of Black poets these past few months. I can honestly think of no better way to get back into poetry. And the final book that I got from the library recently is this cookbook, Philistine. I don't talk about my cooking very much on this channel. I love cooking and baking. Haven't been doing as much of it since it's been so hot, and I felt no desire to turn the oven or stove on. I've been looking to read and cook more from more cookbooks by chefs of color, so this was one of the books that was recommended to me. It is a collection of recipes from a restaurant in Palestine. I've flipped through it in a few bookstores, and I'm really excited to tab this and bake some things from it. Sorry, did I say that that was the last book I got from the library? Well, it's not, because I got this surprise grab bag of books. Because my library is only picking up holds and you don't get that joy of discovery, they've loaded me up with 5 books. I kind of know what these are because I accidentally saw them because they had to be checked out to my account in order for me to get them. So I kind of know what the books are, but I don't know like what they're about or anything, so we're going to discover them together. First is this wild cover. Oh, I saw the thumbnail, but it's worse in person. I'm sorry, I don't want to insult book covers. I'm not an artist, but I don't love this. Let's see what it's about. Oh no. It's like pro-military. Why? Okay, we're just gonna slide that over there. Look it up on your own time. I'm not going to read the back of it because yikes. Okay. Wow. Okay. Next is, I'm excited about this one, Res Rebel by Melanie Florence. Wow, this is a heavy one. It is a YA fiction book about the Native American teen suicide epidemic. It is written by a Cree and Scottish author. I've been meaning to read more Indigenous lit this year. I'm participating in the Native Lit Challenge, which is a year-long challenge to read Indigenous literature, so maybe I can add this one if it fits for a prompt, but if not, no big deal. It'd be great to read books by Indigenous authors, which are a type of book that I rarely read. Next is Following by Jeffrey M. Johnson. This looks like a mystery thriller, YA thriller. Okay, so there's this kid who likes to investigate things. He wants to be a PI when he sees a popular boy apparently murder his girlfriend, but the investigation is very strange and his girlfriend might still be alive, so I don't usually read thriller because I'm a wimp, but maybe if it's YA, it wouldn't be so bad. Okay, next book is Picture Us in the Light. Well, really in the light because that's reflecting. By Kelly Lloyd Gilbert. I feel like I've seen this cover before. It's blurbed by Becky Albertalli, so that's a good sign. Oh my gosh. It's contemporary, it's queer, it's written by a woman of Asian descent. Oh, I'm really excited to read this. Oh my gosh. So the main character is Danny Cheng. He lives in the Bay Area. He discovers a box full of secrets in his parents' attic and is starting to have feelings for his best friend Harry. Oh my gosh. I need to read this. That's very exciting. Thank you, librarians. And the last book from my mystery grab bag is Demigods I can't say it. Demigods Academy by Elisa Asimore and Kira Legend. Okay, I'll bite. What's this about? It could not be more on the nose. So the back cover, the title is cut off at the top. It said Harry Potter meets Percy Jackson. I don't really need to read any further, but I'll continue. Wow. This has a really cool premise, but it just seems like petty teen drama and also hating on a blonde girl. What's up with that? Let's not do that, people. When was this written? I'm gonna guess 2013. Would you believe if I told you this book was written in 2019? Friends, I don't know what to say. If I were like a 13-year-old who was really into Harry Potter, which honestly I hope no one is anymore, I would maybe be excited about this book. Yeah, it's written in first person, which is it's not my biggest pet peeve anymore. I can handle first person now, but first person YA can like really get on my nerves sometimes. Oh boy. Special white girl. I'm not super interested. We're gonna put that one in the probably not gonna read pile and call it a night. Oh my gosh, I have gone this whole video without mentioning my new book cart. This is Raskog. Can't see over the apples to apples box. This is Raskog, my new book cart from IKEA. Let's see how messy my desk is. I'd be lying if I said I wanted a library cart for a really long time. It was an impulse that came over me like a week and a half ago, and so I bought one and assembled it today. But I think it'll actually help organize my room, and I'm also going to try and keep my TBR and currently reading books in here, as well as library books on this shelf that I'm pointing to, which you can't see. Yes, I've succumbed to the trend and bought a library cart. It's not a library cart. It's probably not supposed to hold all the weight that I'm putting on it, but Swedish engineering. Yes, that is all I have for you. I will be filming my Tome Topple roundup very soon. This is Wednesday. Tome Topple wraps up on midnight on Friday. I am nowhere near my 5-book goal. I honestly don't know what I was thinking. I was on a road trip. I had no time to read. I finished the King of Crows audiobook, so that was my one win so far. Anyway, I'm gonna try and finish at least one more book, maybe 2 more if I'm feeling really ambitious. We'll see what tomorrow holds. That is all for now. Thank you all so much for watching. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Thank you.